Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me. Now, you might be aware that I did a talk about MyHeritage recently for Legacy Family Trees, titled There's More at MyHeritage Than Trees and Photos, which focused just on home discoveries, DNA and research. And today I'm covering these plus trees and photos. So there's a heck of a lot to cover. So I'm just highlighting some things, giving you some tips and bringing you to your attention some of the new features that were launched at this year's Roots Tech. So while it's a super fast visit of features and functionality, it is useful for new visitors for MyHeritage and those wishing to better use their membership. Let me get to the next slide. Okay. Now, so there's 6 main sections at MyHeritage. You've got, actually, I should tell you about what I'm going to talk to you about. So we'll go properly this time. Sorry about this. These are the sections I'm going to talk about is home, family tree, discoveries, photos, DNA, and search. And I am sorry if the slides slip about because I have a really sensitive mouse. So sometimes when I touch it, things just move. And I'm also going to talk about what's new. And as I said, it's really a super fast travel through the website. And I'm really trying to emphasize the importance of exploring different sections because there will be benefits that you might be missing out on. Okay, so first section is to tell you about the talk. 2 points. One, I'm going to focus on the desktop version, although there is an app version that you can see the little green arrow pointing to, and you can download that from the Apple Store or Google Play. And secondly, most of the images are screen dumps, so the text size can vary. And the screenshots are to give you an overall perspective of what happens on the website. And I don't expect you to read all the text. Look at them like they're an image, get an impression about the website. Don't try to read everything because it's all about this feeling and becoming comfortable with the site's features. Okay, so as you become more comfortable by investigating these features, I think you need to allocate a slice of time that you plan to check out what's available and how things work. It's better to test examples rather than work on your specific family history projects. Because if you're trying to do something specific on a project, you can't concentrate on what you're trying to learn at the same time how to use the website. So get comfortable with what's available, get to know it better, figure out what functionality might be good for you, and so make yourself at home. So incidentally, the first section's called home. So let's move on to this. What can you find in the home section? It has the little drop-down menu, family events, family statistics, invite family and site members. So in this home section, I see that there's the opportunity to promote and engage and communicate with your family and others to help progress your family history. And so while these drop-down menu items that I've just mentioned before, you also need to look at what is under the link home. And this is the main home link here, pointing up to the green arrow, and the pretty flower pictures, that's the one that I've loaded up. So start your investigation here. And the feature of my Heritage site is they create this little website for you to help you focus and share your family history. And a tip would be that you need to know that other people have these sites too, and you can become a site member of someone else's site. And once a member, and to find out how you do this, I'm just going to point this little, whoops, see what happens when I touch my mouse? Sorry about that. This little drop down here, because once you become a site member or you're an owner, I've found that people struggle trying to find them. So if you click this little drop down, you can see I've got 3 sites on this example. My own main site, which I'm the owner, and the other 2 are ones that I'm members of. So once a member, you use this little drop down arrow to move between the sites. And I'll cover more about site members later. So what else is on the home page? Details including, for example, the site owner, and you can have a little picture there, which I happen to have one. There is also information about the statistics. And this you may know, and you're thinking, well, I know that. I don't need to be told how many people are in my tree, I know. But don't forget, if someone else is a site member or someone's referring to your site, if they can see that you've got thousands and thousands of members, they will know that you're a tree builder that just likes adding. Or if you've got, for example, like mine, 800, that I'm focusing on a particular group of people. It might be a particular branch. Now, then there's the about area. And I've got this in my about, and I'll quote, it says, my trees on MyHeritage do include records and other materials that are not fully checked. So sources may be incorrect in some cases. If you wish to check any details with me first before adding to your own tree, etc., contact me. So it's an opportunity to say something about your tree, if it's a collaborative tree or it's just a particular branch you're researching, and it's easy to edit. You just find this little edit button down here and use it. And then another area is the recent activity area. Now, recent activities are a quick way to see what you've done recently. Or if you have site members that can edit your tree, like your cousins, that you have let do this, it'll tell you who's updated what. And so I've hidden the name here, but somebody updated something in the tree. And then another thing is, so I connected up a smart match here, and I could even go in and view the matches. And in this case, I played with a photo and I can go back in. So if you're a bit lazy and don't keep a research log or forget what you did because it's so long since you did something, or you're really busy, you can check out recent activity and it pages down and find out what's been happening on your site. And it doesn't want me to page down. Okay. So starting off with the family events, these are the 4 items that were I listed first in the home. Now you can post a family event by starting up, that's better. I just keep moving the pictures of the people over the text of the things that I need to see. Anybody, you can post a family event, but when I saw this, I thought, oh no, big family reunions, that's not for me. But the thing is, with the calendar, you could post a one-to-one meetup, for example, if you're working with a cousin to grow your family tree. And when viewing these trees, either you've got a full membership or you've got the free membership, I found that all the levels of membership seem to have a similar types of information and functionality on the page. So this home section seems to be pretty good even under the free membership. Now, if you want to see a step-by-step how to post an event on the family calendar, it also automatically notifies site members of this via email. The details are in my Legacy Family Tree webinar, and that's actually free to view online. Some of them you have to have a membership for, but this particular webinar that I did is free. I don't know. Okay. So after you've gone through all the steps, and there's quite a few little steps just to help you through, you can send off an email to the recipients, and it shows that you did this successfully. And then it puts it in the calendar here. Now, a tip is that you could use the calendar to schedule your own research. So why not book a time to look at a particular ancestor or update your DNA matches? Programming your research makes it much more productive to keep you focused. So even if you don't want to do something with cousins, you can actually still use a calendar for yourself. Okay. The next one is the family statistics. Now, I like this section because it puts it in a format that covers a lot of different statistics quite succinctly and pretty. And it's things like genders, living, deceased, relationship data like married, single, widowed, plus statistics about names in your tree, places, ages, births, children, divorces. And so I've just given one example here, but you obviously can click into more information. And so my tip with this is that because it's presented in such an easy visual way to see, it means that if you're planning an online meetup with family, or say if you can figure out how to cast it to your TV when family's visiting, they can see the facts about their ancestors by place, time, events, and more, and thus helping increase family history sharing and engagement without you having to do a whole lot of work and preparation. And I do this for some of my three of my sister-in-laws never really got into family history till I started showing them things like this. Okay, another section is invite family. Now, this is how you actually go and get people to invite them to be part of your family tree, to be a site member. And it's an easy way to send out emails asking family members to join up and collaborate on building your family tree, or even just sharing and looking. They don't have to be editing. It's very simple to use. There's a list of people that are in the tree. You find the person that you're interested in and ask them to join. Now, any of you that have tried to send emails out to people about visiting your trees on MyHeritage, Ancestry, or anywhere, you know how difficult it is to actually get the right link and to get people at the tree. Well, the advantage of this email is it's automatically created by MyHeritage, and it includes information explaining what it's about and how you'll get it. And they automatically get this. And online, MyHeritage goes through the process with you, but I'm going to jump to a bit further down the process where they get this email that says, and then they click a link and they say, go to a page that is, instead of saying go to MyHeritage and find it, they go to the page that starts for them. So again, it's just so much easier, and they can click to go to my family tree, which is the joint tree, because this is what this page was about. But they can also, if they're just a beginner, look up things like family tree, family history, photos, family events, etc. So they can get ready to start with a click of one button. Now, the last one is the site members, and I haven't included an image of the data of my site members because I'd have to redact it because it's got email addresses and names and all that. But you can visit and review this at any time. And I will say that, yes, I have removed members when we've finished our discussions, or I wanted to increase the security after adding more family members to my tree that I didn't want to share with other people. So what I want to reiterate is to plan what you're doing, slow down, set aside time to work through the different processes. So I've skimmed over the detail about how MyHeritage has set up a website to help you through it, and how to do things like adding a calendar and automatically sending emails. But to get the most out of the functionality in the home section of the website, you really need to invest some time in it. And successful collaboration with cousins means that you really do have to educate yourself and plan to use the features. So, but time spent now will mean your research will progress quicker later. The next section is the family tree, and this is probably the most popular section for family historians. And again, MyHeritage is here to help you grow and even protect your tree. Now, the sections in the family tree area, there's a lot of them. And if you're quick at reading, you can read that my family tree, my photos, had importing a GEDCOM, printing charts and books, timelines, consistency checker, and it all wouldn't fit on one slide. So it's the same on the drop-down menu on MyHeritage. You've got to click the more to get the pedigree map, relationship report, sources, and backup. And one thing I am going to talk about is the new color coding. So first, though, we'll go to the very last one in the item. for the amount of times I've actually been to the MyHeritage site, I never really clicked about this. And so it shows that I need to really practice what I preach. But did you know that MyHeritage, for a small fee, monthly fee, can protect your precious family history photos with the MyHeritage backup service? Now, I'm not meaning to sound like an ad, but it's more a case of how you can easily step over things and miss them and not realize, because I did that myself. But I found out when I followed it through that this backup happens automatically every month, is stored separately on a secure, redundant storage on Amazon.com. And if you have more than one tree, it's also protected at no extra cost. So, for example, if you delete your tree or your precious photos, you can accidentally recover them from a previous revision that's been saved with the backup. So, but my point being, make sure that you click some of these links sometimes and find out what they are, because I didn't. Another one is the consistency checker. Now, we all know when you use someone else's tree and have a look at it, you go, oh, look, that person was born after their father died 3 years before. What MyHeritage has is that you go into the consistency checker, and if you scan the list, you'll see some of the examples of items that are reviewed for inconsistencies. And then you can review these individual ones and correct or remove it from the list if it's not inconsistent. So, you know, multiple marriages for the same couple, you know how that happens. You find a marriage record, you add it. For some reason, when you added the next marriage record, you found it created a second marriage. And it's not always easy to find all these inconsistencies, and MyHeritage helps you do that. And the new feature is more color coding for family trees. Was introduced at Roots Tech earlier this year. It was already on the family tree timeline and the fan chart, and the colors of these two have been adjusted to align with the new color scheme. So now it's on the family view and the pedigree view. Now, it's easy often when you're not looking at a tree with that many people and you're dealing with it all the time to know, like in my case, who is Amelia Brettle and who is Jane Gibson. And so I'm wondering if I need the colours. But it does help other people when they are looking at your tree, and it does help when a tree's big. But first of all, you can see it for yourself, probably. Paternal grandfather's side's blue, your paternal grandmother's green, your paternal grandfather's red, although it's actually pink, and your maternal grandmother's side's yellow. And not on there, because my son wouldn't let me put stuff on. I've never asked him, but I don't put it on for privacy. But your descendants would appear in purple if you've got any. Now, this slide shows you how it really does help. The previous ways that you could show this, which are still available, is just with the coloured edge, and you can see that's the top one, and so there's a pink and a blue edge, or the second one down, which has got a pink for females and blue for males filled in, and the new one. So I think you can see that if you're in a large tree, we get used to knowing the male is on the right and the female is on the left in a marriage. And so you can probably figure that out, but you can see how if you're in any particular part of the tree, you can quickly see which branch you're on. So it helps so much if you research infrequently, have a large tree when you may not remember your distant ancestors' names, branches, or relationships to you. Now, what you need to do is actually turn on the color coding. It's not automatic. And so here, for example, is a cousin's tree of mine. And I think you'll agree, it's easier to see the family tree with the colors. So, you know, mother, grandmother, maternal, paternal grandmother's green, when you're not familiar with them. But even when you convert to the list view, you've now got these little colored dots that help. So the tip about turning the color coding on, if you've not already done it, down towards the bottom right hand side, you've got like the make bigger, go home, etc. there's now this little palette, and you click that and you can turn them on and off. Now, also, they talked about the relationship diagram. And when you look at someone on a tree and you click them, on the left-hand side comes up a profile for them. So this is my great-grandmother, Mary Scott MacDonald. And you can see here it's got that she's my great-grandmother. Well, if I click it, it comes up the relationship diagram. Now, I did the little one because it fits on the slide, but you can imagine if this is, you know, a second cousin 3 times removed, that it will be a lot longer going up and down and around. So it can be very useful to show your relationship to you. And the other new little thing is this very little icon here. This one, a blood relative. So that's an easy way if you're looking in this profile that you know that this is a direct ancestor because you've got this little blood relative. And the 2 drops of blood. Okay, this one here, we're going to dive into the next section, which is discoveries. And if you've just created a site in MyHeritage, it takes a little while for the discoveries to start being delivered, and you need to have a few people in your tree as well. So what can you find in the discoveries sections? Well, there's matches by people, matches by sources, and instant discoveries. And records can be smart matches or record matches. So we'll start off with how you find them, and there's many ways. And discoveries lead to these little happy dances. That's why we've got the happy girl on this one. So there's the menu items that we previously looked at. So these ones that drop down from the main menu. Or there's the notifications on the very top dark coloured menu across the page. So you can see Stephen recently created this website for me. He hasn't got any yet. And this is a cousin shared one, and this is my one. So the little buttons indicate the discoveries by MyHeritage. But my tip would be with these is that it's not compulsory to view on act on all of these. Stick to your research plan so you don't waste time diving down rabbit holes, although it's still okay to do some free diving now and again. There's a third way you find discoveries. If you select to have emails from MyHeritage, they will send you emails about discoveries. Another way is that when you're on a tree and you're looking at a particular person, and here we have a pink version of a person, you can see these little icons, and I ran my mouse over it and it tells you that there's a smart match discovery. So that's 4 ways that you can find them, and there's probably others. What's good about discoveries is that MyHeritage really tries to automatically filter out false positives and save you time, thus improving the quality of the discoveries. Now, quality will also be better if your tree facts and information are better, but they do focus on that, and I think it's good that they make sure that they try and get the best results for you in the discoveries. So to talk about the types of discoveries. So we've got record matches, and this is a bit you have to remember when you're using them. Record matches are where MyHeritage has searched its billions of historical records to match the information to people or persons in your family tree. Smart matches are where the MyHeritage technology compares and matches people in your family tree to their database of millions of other family trees to help you discover more. And both these record and smart matches are sorted by people in your tree or by source type. And it means that you can look at these in different ways to help accommodate your particular research method for a particular project. And the last one, instant discoveries, is a package of family history information that you can apply to your family tree with just one click. And these might be photo or person instant discoveries. Now, when you come across these terms or different phrases at the MyHeritage site, my little tip here is to search at the Help Centre or the knowledge base that can be found on the top right-hand side of the menu bar to check out what these things mean. I find myself every now and again going back and reassuring myself what's a record match, what's a smart match, because you're inclined to sometimes just skim over these things. So here's a particular one, a screenshot of smart matches by people for record matches. Now there's a consistency of format over these so that you get used to it. So when dealing with the people matches, you can look at all the matches, the record matches, all the smart matches. But beyond this, there's also loads of ways of sorting the information. Now you can see this little drop down arrow here. You can look at pending matches, new matches, confirmed matches, rejected or ignored. Now you might reject or ignore a match knowing that it's something that's a duplicate information or it's wrong, but later on you might want to go back and refer to that, so it's good that you can sort it. And the next one is that you can sort this list, which can be very long, by a value such as the number of matches, the most recent match, the first name, the last name, the relation. So again, it's useful, and see in this case I sorted on Anne, so I've got Annie, Anne Gibson, Anne Nixon. I could sort on a surname if I want to get, you know, males and females. And then this is a little sort, that's the button that you use, that I used to get Anne, was this little sort search button here. Now switch back to settings. There's the settings with the setting cog, and what they do is they give you additional filtering. And again, I come back to this learning what's on the site. For a long time, I just passed over that setting and just thought, well, I'm getting all these matches. But one day I clicked it and I discovered that you could filter the matches and confidence levels. And to do that, you move this little slider along. And so low confidence record matches are more likely to include inaccuracies. So you can adjust it. And I've given you an example here with my Anne Collis. If I put the confidence level at 0, I got 10 record matches. At 2, I got 2 matches. And after 2, I got no matches. So that you can see the 2 record matches at confidence level 2 are likely to be more accurate, and I can have a greater confidence with them than the 10 matches. And the second bit here is that if you're just using the free one, because you haven't got a full membership yet, you can actually click it to show free text records, but you can actually go into more structured records or any record types. And lucky for us, to store defaults and apply. Now, while we're a bit deeper in here in this pool of complexities, another point to consider is what different membership types you can access in these discoveries. Because what you need to be aware of, that some are free and some are paid memberships. So for example, with the Smart Match feature, with a free MyHeritage account, you can receive smart matches, viewable matches, compare your tree with the matching tree, and reject matches. But you'll need a premium, premium plus, or complete subscription to look at confirm matches, to extract information from them and save them to your tree, and contact other tree members and copy photos. I didn't give you a slide on that because I didn't want you to become over the top with complexities. Again, I'm just trying to show you the importance of investigating and learning more what's available there for you and giving you an example. So here's a record match by source. And it's in this case where before we were talking about people, this one you can see there's like family tree, census data, Genie World family tree. And I think this is useful when you've written a research plan and you decide, okay, I'm going to research about this family, and one of the things I need to look up about them is particular census data. So you can actually research and access record matches by particular records. What you may not have, and remember, we're in discoveries. We're not in like sorting totally into the resources area. But what this does is sometimes it shortcuts you to get there. And so can focus a way of focusing on your work. And what you may not have realized is if you dig down into, say, people matches to find a match and add it to your tree, there's also now one less source match that you need to check out, and vice versa. Because if you find a source match and add it to a person that it's talking about, then there's also one fewer match by people to resolve, and sometimes multiple people, because there might be more than one person on that particular resource. And the last one, instant discoveries. I'm just going to show you photo discoveries because, as you've gathered by now, I'm giving you homework to go away and look it up yourself, is that it comes up with photos that it's found on people's websites and who these people might be. And I think the interesting point is to try and be helpful all the time. MyHeritage has little wee things that it helps with. So I don't know if you can see the feature where the arrow is, but it's my husband's grandfather. And this particular photo discovery is about him. So they actually marked him when there's multiple people in the photograph. And so seeing we're talking about photographs, we're going to move on to the photos section. Now, photos, you all know that feeling when you get that photo of your great-grandmother for the first time. Well, you do find, and I found quite a lot of photos myself on MyHeritage, if you've got cousins and distant cousins adding to trees. So this is what you can find in the photo section. My photos, which are the ones that you've loaded up, a photo tagger, colorize the photos, and sorry about the spelling, but it's the name of the thing and it's how they spell it, bit Americanized. You can enhance, you can animate photos, and you can do deep story, and you can do the AI time machine. So let's have a look at some of them. Now, tagging is that you select the photo tagger item in the photos menu. And what this does is that MyHeritage shows you some photos. And then I typed in that it was Grace Dawson. And so then when it finds more photos of her, you can be tagged. Now, the advantage of them showing you a whole lot at once, and I've only shown you 2 photos because it fits better on the slide. But you imagine if you can click 10 photos at once and tag them, how much quicker it is. It saves having to dig through your whole collection of photos. And I do mention the mobile app here, that it does have a lot of these photo features on the mobile app. And the next one is about colorize or enhancing photos. So here's an example of my grandparents and their 3 eldest children. And the photo has been enhanced and colored. And while it's not perfect, you can see it's easier to see the family and be nicer to use in a PDF if I was sharing it with family. The next one is my grandfather's sister. So it's the sister to the man in the other photo. And this one is just enhanced, and you can see the photos been made a little bit clearer. I mean, it was pretty blurry to start off with, so it's not perfect, but it does look a little bit better. To show that photos have been adjusted, they have small icons on the bottom left corner. So this is one that's been colored and enhanced, and this one's been enhanced. I made bigger pictures than what they are so that you could see them. And another example is a faded photo from 1962 with my grandmother and cousins. Was photoed by a mobile phone, so not the good quality photo that we have today on our cameras and that we have today on our mobile phone, but over 10 years ago. And then it was fixed in MyHeritage Colorize, which restores colors. So I think you would agree, quite pleased how the red bricks finally look red again, and the dresses look vibrant blue, how they used to look originally. And the next one's a photo that's over 50 years old with my cousin and me, with the colours restored from MyHeritage. And again, our pretty pink frocks and the aqua coloured trousers look quite good. Now, the next one, just another quick one to show you, is that this is Mabel again, and she has been enhanced, and then the enhanced picture I dropped into animate, and depending how slow your individual internets are, you might not see much, and I've also picked a pretty plain one, so we just have to sit, and you can see she moves around. Now, some people find this a bit gory, but if you are trying to present stuff to your family, and having a bit of movement could help. Now, Jenny, the next one is this deep story, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it's to give you an example of what you can do. I basically had a few pictures of my mother and I just dropped it into deep story. And then that's why you need to have photos tagged so they could tell who to use. And so if we just listen to the beginning of it. Now, let me just actually go over here and check that it says share computer sound, right? Okay, so hopefully you'll hear it. Whoops, but we didn't want to click the slide on, did we?
Hi, I'm Rowena Mabel Dawson. Let me tell you my deep story. It all started when I was born on June 1, 1921, in New Zealand. My father Charles Collis Dawson was born in 1885, in London. My mother Grace Shepherd was born in 1896, in London. When they married in 19...
Okay, so hopefully you heard that. But I was really quite surprised at how little work I had to do. The whole thing's about 2 minutes long. And, I just really thought it was brilliant for sharing with family. And then the next slide is me over the top, is the new AI time machine from MyHeritage. Now, this is the set of photos. There's about just over 20 photos that I loaded up. And we'll just go back. And you can load up and you pick different types of time periods, avatars, art styles, or occupations, and you get an email when the results are available, and you can download them as groups like they are here, or individual photos within a group. And so you too can load up and create some mind-blowing AI avatars and share them with your friend, or use them as your profile. And I was just got a bit addicted and did you some close-up examples as well. And you can get the grumpy ones. So like here, got one that's a bit grumpy and one that's a bit more grumpy over here. And this is the one I've been using as my avatar. So one final comment on photos that I think I need to say, that you shouldn't ever underestimate the power of photos for family history advancement. While some might say negative things about these features like the AI time machine, they attract more people to the MyHeritage site. Some will be converted and subscribe, which helps fund new data acquisitions, which you will love. Others might just build a tree that helps break down your brick wall. So at the beginning of the photo section, I said all my focus is on the good. And it's the good in the websites of having these features that different people can appreciate. And the interesting thing was I had one of my sister-in-laws here yesterday, and I was showing her the presentation. She goes, oh, I'd use that sort of thing. So as I said, don't ever underestimate the power of photos for family history advancement. And another moan you might hear is that with DNA, that people never answer messages or build trees. So instead of focusing on the negative, you still need to understand that they are adding to the family history community, even if it's in a small way, if it's just in your match list, or they might have more interest one day and start with photos or DNA. So we'll take this opportunity to move on to the DNA section. So again, don't rush when it comes to DNA. Take it slow, especially if you're new to DNA or just starting your family history journey. Looking into your DNA can be overwhelming and technical, but it doesn't have to be. So to manage and benefit from your investment, you need to spend some time educating yourself. Now, I'm not a DNA expert, but there's loads of free and paid training on the internet, on YouTube, at Legacy Family Tree webinars. Societies run courses, or join up in interest groups so that you can learn from members. And I see from your website that you guys have a DNA group. The next meeting's on the 27th of the month. So check out the details online on your own website, and you might find that it's really good if you haven't been to the DNA group before. I'm sure they're like many other groups, they're not there to scare you off. So what can you find on the DNA section? There's the overview, the ethnicity, matches, tools, managing your kits, uploading the data, and ordering more kits. Now, I need to point out that while I'm speeding through this website, many sections give one step-by-step processes and of course there's the help center and the knowledge base, and there's lots of help online, as I just mentioned. Okay, so this is the sixth item in the menu, which is upload the data. So to get started, you can upload your data for free from one of the other main sites that do family history DNA, or you could purchase a kit. Now, the biggest tip I have here when uploading your DNA is to read all the details on the page, rather than just going straight for the start button and going click, click, click through the process. For example, it's helpful to know that you get what you get for free and what might cost extra. So you see here, you get MyHeritage and receive matches for free, but for an extra fee, you need to pay if you're looking for things like chromosome browser, ethnicity estimate, shared ancestral places, and more. So after you load your data up, you get your results in, and they send you an email telling you that they're excited to let you know they're ready. And this was the stuff that my husband did for me for my legacy webinar I did recently. And why I'm showing you this is that the results came in a few days, which was quicker than what they said. And he got 13,000 matches, but he's still only got 3 people in his tree, him, mother and father. It's not whom you match to in trees that you get as DNA matches, but it's the DNA in the database. So even if you've got a small tree, it can pay you to load up your data. So if you want to know more about loading up and you're a bit nervous about it, again, go back to my Legacy Family Tree webinar, because I go through the process in detail and tell you little tips and helpful. And the reason why I focus on this about loading up is because many people actually struggle just to load their DNA up. And when you have loaded it up and it comes back with some results, you find out about DNA matches in your close, extended, and distant relatives. And the second part here is locations of where these members exist. So you can see in this case here, my husband's load up, he's got a load of matches in the US, which is quite common for those of you that have looked at your DNA, but his is excessive, which actually was a good tell when we were trying to work out relatives, distant relatives for him. If you're using the free membership, don't forget you need to pay this one-off fee to unlock them. And it was $43 when I looked last. I'm not quite sure if they put it up. Okay. Now, this is what happens with your ethnicity estimates. MyHeritage will tell you if you need to pay to unlock them, and you've got the little purple button where you can unlock them and decide if you want to pay. But you do know that what you've got in terms of ethnicity or genetic groups. So this is what the data looked like. And he basically had a lot of Irish, Scottish, mainly Irish, Scottish and Welsh. And that's why he's got a lot of US ancestors. I mean, a lot of US DNA matches, because he's got a lot of Irish that went to the US. Okay, so it's time to remind you to make sure that you focus and go slow with your DNA. Because if you come across things like a genetic group in Boston, but your family comes from New Zealand, or confidence levels, you might create your own roadblocks. So don't rush with DNA. Slow down, be purposeful with your clicking, so that when new features arrive, you'll be able to handle using them. And here is a new DNA feature. Okay, then MyHeritage announced this at Roots Tech. It's the DNA explainer, and it's free to use. And basically, you put in your shared DNA, your age, yes, I'm that old, and your match's DNA, your match's age. And if you don't know it, just guess it. And sometimes you can have a 10-year field in the people's profile that you can guess. And so that's why I put 65. And from that, you get the probable relationship that this is a second cousin. And don't forget, though, that these probabilities are such that even though it's like a 58% a second cousin, it's still valid that it could be these other ones, the lesser ones down there. And the other thing that you get is further down the page is a diagram view of the information. So you can see that was me and its great-grandparents, and these are the possible people statistically that it might be. But again, the tip is don't rush yourself and educate yourself as you go. And the last section is plan to focus on your research. It's a huge collection. There was over 19 billion historical records, and they're sorted into categories and subcategories, and then collections of individual records. And you can find these on the main search page at myheritage.com/research. But I do tell you, if you haven't got one already, write a research plan, because it does help you, rather than just random names, that you can focus on your research and in particular categories, subcategories, and limit where you're going to be searching. And I'm going to fly through this last bit. You can look at all these, which are what you find in this section. And for example, the census helper, sometimes you get a pile of odd other census things because it's based on a name and you need to add a few more details, but it's a thing that you may not have tried out. Now, this is the new look for research. Starts with the basic research like name, date of birth, etc. But what they've added is these icons. What type of records are you looking for? And it means that, well, I don't know if you're aware, but different people navigate the web differently. Some like text, some like images. There are a lot more. You see this little arrow here that you can check, like public records, directories, histories, government, court lands, wills, etc. The second line down is the catalogue collection. And again, similar topics that they're split into for the collections and how many records are in, or how many are in each collection. But also if you want to go by, and shouldn't play with my mouse so much, record by location or by years. And then when you get into particular collections, look out for things like free if you don't have a membership, updated, images. Like if you're the type of person who only wants to look at ones that have images, look for these little icons. And when you're in that particular page, if you run your mouse over the text of the title of the records or the collection, it tells you more about it. And when you go into it, a classic search type situation, but again, more help showing you here related records and telling you about the particular record. And this is my summary list, which, because it was really quick, but I just wanted to make some points. And if you guys like, I can send you this little list because I haven't put it on a slide. There's a lot more at MyHeritage website than you realize. To make use of the site, you need to invest time in educating yourself about its functionality and features. This learning needs to be sometimes done in a focused way and separately from doing your family research. MyHeritage has lots of support, including step-by-step processes to use many of the features. For further queries, there's the Help Centre and the Knowledge Base. The Home section focuses on helping you engage with family to progress your research. MyHeritage helps you grow and protect your family tree with regular improvements and useful functionality. You need to understand how Discoveries is segmented when you dive in, so it's not a belly flop. And there's just more than hints in this section. The photo section's filled with interesting tools, and there's other ways to attract people to family history. To manage your DNA and benefit from the investment you've made, you need to educate yourself and take it slowly. And to succeed, you need to focus with a plan when you do your research. So the functionality is there, and now you need to educate yourself so you can benefit from it. And let me just go to my last little slide, which says thank you all for watching.